In this video, we'll be going how to create a outline for a content brief. In this case, we're going to be looking at our target keyword of how to help aging parents stay in their home. So from the content brief, you want to open up Content Harmony. Next, you want to jump to Keyword Report. And this is going to give you all of your different research options. Now, the first thing we'll notice as we scroll down is SERP features, and in this case there's a people also ask section. There's also a featured snippet, and that featured snippet seems to be a bullet list and a listicle, so immediately we know there's a decent chance that this article is going to be written in a listicle style. Now really what we're doing at the beginning is just trying to get a sense for the kind of subtopics we're going to be writing about. So when you click over to topic and look under topic analysis, you can start to see some of the terms that are used. Parents, older adults, help. These are things that are fairly obvious. You've also got adult children or adult child. That's an interesting one. So we'll explore that a little bit later potentially. Own homes, so you know you're going to talk about probably the idea of your senior parent owning their own home. And the fact that, frankly, they just want to stay in their home. Scroll down, social workers, so we might talk about social workers or getting them some help. You can also see Alzheimer's. You get the idea. Next, we clicked over to outline. And keep in mind, each one of these sections has a little learn button here, so you can always click this and get a more thorough understanding of this brief. But what we really want to look at here is the outline analysis, and this shows us what our competitors' outlines look like. So some of the actual content that they've been writing about. Again, so we can see in this first article, we have 10 strategies to help your parents age in their home. And the title of the article, 10 key strategies to help parents age in place. Keeping aging parents at home, 5 top caregiving tips. 4 tips to help aging parents stay in their home, aging in place. So we can already see that in the top 10, the very first one, second one, and third ranking article are all listicles. Then we've got one that is also a listicle, it looks like. Maybe not quite. How to make your home safe for aging parents. So what this does is it starts to give you an idea of some of the topics you might want to cover. And as you go through and you start seeing some things, you want to come back to the content brief, scroll down to the outline, and just start adding things in where you think we might want to add them. You can always delete ideas later if you feel like it's not a good fit. You also want to consider the angles we can take on this article. For example, in this first article, it seems like they're really covering the view from the son or daughter's perspective, where they're talking about how to talk to the parent. As you can imagine, this is like a pretty scary thing. This is a pretty emotional type of conversation to have. So this one really focuses on how do you help them do things like avoid scams, talk about the costs, know what your options are. They also talk about the benefits of aging in place. Your home, your happiness. If we go to the next article, reduce financial pressure, be realistic, understand how much care is needed. So again, just go through and maybe get a general sense of what the angle of the article might be and start to find, see, it looks like this one talks more about how to make your home safe. So safety is an angle. So we can sort of start to see this article we might want to create emerge. So first thing we want to talk about is you want to talk about how to talk to your parents. How to talk to your parents. How to prepare. How to prepare. You want to talk about safety. You want to talk about finances. We want to talk about or think through emergency plans. That could be part of safety. We'll just keep that added in. Now, as you start to flesh this out, using some of the information you're finding here, you might start to have some of your own questions. For example, I've started to outline this and I got into logistics when I thought about, well, grocery shopping, traveling, and then I thought Uber and Lyft, and I thought, I wonder if Uber or Lyft has a specific program for seniors. Would seniors even use Uber or Lyft? And so I just simply went to Google and typed in, is there an Uber for the elderly? And I came across this one website called GoGo Grandparent. And it looks like there basically is something that's specifically made for the elderly. So you may or may not want to go into detail about the service. At the very least, it's probably worth mentioning. Go Grandparent. And this way you at least know to look back and do your research once you're kind of finished with your basic outline. Next, you want to go to questions, still under the keyword report, right next to outline. And Google PAA is people also ask. So this is really useful because this tells us what people are also asking in addition to or in tangent with the keyword that we're targeting. And typically if people are also asking these questions, then it means it might be worth it for us to include it in the article. So can you stop an aging parent from self-neglect at home? Some of these might be an entirely other article. Some of these might be worth just mentioning in the article. You've also got questions from Quora, which can be really useful down here. So this is a great question. How can we care for elderly parents from a long distance? Naturally, not everyone is going to be near their parent, so this is a good idea to include this potentially near the bottom of the article. Now, we're a big fan of including data in our articles because it makes it easier for us to create illustrations around data, and it also makes the asset or the article we're creating more linkable. So at some point in here, it's always worth at least thinking through, how can I include a section on data? Now, as I'm creating this outline, I think to myself, well, I've added in the benefits of aging in place. I wonder if there's some data about how seniors feel about staying in their home. Have they been surveyed? What is their preference? And so I type in aging in place statistics, and a Global Newswire article shows up. That's kind of a PR site, so may not be the source we want to cite, but then I find an article here that looks like it could match really well. This article is from the National Institute on Aging, which is a part of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. So this is actually a great resource that we're going to want to likely link to. So I'll take this and I'll go back to the content brief and I'll scroll down to resources. And I'll just add it here for reference later. They even have a section on how much it'll cost to age in place. And since we already started thinking about the finances and cost of aging in place, we know that this could be a potentially really helpful section. And when you're coming up with the outline and fleshing out the article in general, you really want to think through all the way to the end. When this is actually published, we might want to include custom illustrations or images in the article. This is not your job per se, but you're setting us up for success if you find some inspiration and think, aha, this would be a really good place to include a specific kind of image. And in the keyword report images, you can actually see what images have been included on other articles. And in this particular case, there's nothing special. It's a lot of stock imagery. You can also click on videos and find videos that might be useful as well. Now, after you've taken the time to go through all of the different competitors and also thinking this through from your own perspective, thinking through with empathy for our audience, who our audience is. In this case, it's caregivers or the sons and daughters of seniors. You might find something or think of something that's not included on another article, but that you think would make a lot of sense to include. And while Content Harmony is great for uncovering what competitors are doing, it's not going to come up with original ideas for you. So if you come up with an original idea, something that's not included that would make our article stand out, then feel free to add it. Because ultimately what we're trying to do is make something better, not the same as everything else that's out there. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know.